everybody.
Hello, cheers.
Cheers and greetings. Anybody that is in now, go ahead and share us out so that we can get some more viewers in here before we get started. I'm going to double check. I feel like you can hear me. My mic is bouncing everywhere, so we're good. There. And you guys will notice that I bounce between the two.
Sure.
Just because sometimes I don't know if I'm getting all my chat comments on the other one. So come over here every now and again. All right, is everybody in here yet? Don't look like it. Oh, there we go. Turning down the volume. And as usual, as you all know, the Baron is always late.
No, I'm not.
Yes, he is.
It's fashionably late.
Everyone else is just early.
Yeah.
Everybody else is too early. I am on time. Voila.
Voila.
I am here.
That's what you said.
I am here. I am ready. I am focused. I am... What else am I?
Lost.
I'm lost, apparently, to her. Welcome to the show, everybody. Let's get, like she said, let's get this thing shared out. Let's get it. Let's get a big room in here, a big audience. We got some wonderful guests here with us tonight, so we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Just definitely want to make sure we got given time for everybody to get in here. People are just getting out of work around the country.
Yeah.
We're eating dinner.
Eating
Yeah.
dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We just came from dinner. So.
We did.
Did
We made sure it was early so we didn't miss the show.
Ah. Oh, he's got leftovers he's going to get. He's like, oh yeah, I remember I got this wonderful thing I'm going to eat on the show.
And that is wood.
Well, yes, it is.
No.
So how is everybody doing? I hope everybody's had a wonderful 2 weeks since the last time we were on. We've been busy at the shop, but we really haven't done, this is like a rare 2 weeks of where we weren't out doing something.
I know.
That was crazy.
But it's going to hit us hard here in the next month or two.
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah, at the end of the show, we've got a long list just for April and May that we'll talk to you guys about, where we're going to be, what we're doing, lots of fun things happening. But tonight's all about our very special guest. But you had something you wanted to, you're wearing something different tonight.
Right, isn't that pretty?
Isn't it pretty? It is
Very
pretty.
Yes.
I chose it. I found it for her.
Hi, Michelle. I would like to thank Sonia Norris. She actually makes these tiaras, and they are in a shop that is in the same building as our shop. So she's got all different kinds, and she makes jewelry that actually go with it. So
Oh, so I got to break out my wallet again?
did you break it out for this one?
No, you paid for it, I think.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
That's what happens. I find her cool shit for her to buy.
That's right. I buy my own stuff.
But it does look nice. I like it.
It does.
It's a nice addition to you.
To me.
The queen.
Queen.
Should have a tiara.
Queen Cindy.
Queen Cindy.
Right.
Oh God.
Oh, I got a
She's
new
gonna
one
want to be
now.
called that now. Oh jeez. Thanks, Stephanos.
What, Queen of the Knights and Opera?
See?
So
He's got it. You don't.
yeah. So speaking of Stephanos, I would like to introduce our very special guests, very dear friends of ours. We go back a few years now, but Courtney Stephanos. I love saying that. I never call her by her last name. I never call him by his last name, but I love saying her last name. I'm probably not even pronouncing it right.
No, Pepino is
Actually,
correct.
Pepino.
Yeah, most people don't actually say it right, so.
But I got the right inflection. Pepino.
There you go.
Now I'm going to have real fun with this one. This one's going to be fantastic.
Mine was easy.
Yeah.
Stephanos, Pellegrino, Andriotti.
Actually, that was a perfect American pronunciation.
Ba-dee!
American.
That's all right. So how would you say it in...
Hi, Scurvy.
Hi, Scurvy.
Hi.
How is the actual pronunciation done on that very long name?
So Italians drop the S's that originally came from Greek, because a lot of Italians are also Greek too. Southern Italians are pretty much Greek, Semitic, all sorts of mixed things together, as I've figured out studying my lineage. but you would say Stephanos Pellegrino Andreotis.
Woo! I
So-
would
You gotta
never
roll
be able to
the
say-
R's.
Okay, I got to roll my.
That's the,
Usually when you see a double R in something, it implies a roll.
Okay.
That's usually why they do that.
I'm probably just going to call you Stephanos. Like I always do.
This is good.
I'm in. That works.
So everyone calls, well, a lot of people call me Steve. Except for
Steve,
her.
really?
Yeah.
That's our code word.
Thank you,
If she's
Give it
Kirby.
away.
If she's really mad at you,
What?
Steven!
Yeah, that's what he meant. The angry one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I could call you Steve.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
don't look
fit.
like
That's
it.
why I don't.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
Hi,
Everybody calls me
Reese.
Steve all the time.
That's right.
Hello.
You just ignore him.
So we'll start with Courtney.
Okay.
Give us a little background. Who's Courtney?
Wow, that's a big question.
That is. That is.
So, well, I'm one of the owners of Demonicos Productions. You might have seen when we were sharing the show. That's the business we're sharing it from. If you haven't seen it on my personal page, we do metaphysical events. I am also a tarot reader, and I am a homesteader too. If that doesn't surprise people, when you're talking about being somebody that's into the metaphysical arts. So I have a lot of study in animism, so working with animals and shamanism a little bit, a lot of earthy kind of magic is where I naturally sit. But, you know, I also work with Stefano in regards to grammatology and some more of the symbolism and things. I'll let him talk about himself, but we do work together on a lot of our studies. So, yeah.
And I
So
could
you
tell.
do Reiki as well.
Oh, yes, and I'm a Reiki
Okay,
master. I don't
see,
know why
there
I
you
always
go.
forget that one.
I don't know.
Yes,
an
I'm
important one.
I'm a Reiki master and also studying herbalism. Very, I would say, modern lingo would be termed like crunchy. I'm very into people like holistically living and making sure that their body and mind are connected.
She gives me a lot of shit all the time because I don't have the best diet. And when we're working events together and she's here and around, I'm like eating like crap. She gives me that stink eye. She's like,
I am
John,
a Virgo,
really?
so I do judge people.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, she. But it's interesting because.
Hi, Gary.
Oh, hi Gary.
like
I don't know where I was going with that. So Stephanos, a little bit of background about you.
Okay, so I am a classically trained tenor operatic performer. I've won 2 international titles and I have toured around the country and around Europe, and I'm currently in the process of getting to that next level with my career. I, as dear Courtney has said, I am a practitioner of the arcane arts. I am the head of the Daimonikos tradition, progenitor of sorts. I am a Reiki master. I work with the chi pathways, astrology, what is known as grammatology, which is the study of all things letter. Basically, every magic can be reduced back to letter and speech.
And what I found, and I tell people this all the time when people come in and they want to know about our tarot readers and the different services we offer, and I talk about you guys, and I tell them right off the bat, they are the most knowledgeable historically, linguistically, just the histories of stuff. You know, it's mind-boggling what you can store up in your noggins, because it would destroy my brain if I tried to keep that much knowledge. But I'm serious though. How they can tie, like you kind of talked about a little bit, how everything can be tied to a certain thing, and they know those paths. They talk about those paths. So we won't get too much into that today because that's an entire series of shows to do. But,
Becomes a
Well,
lecture.
Gary has a question, and I'm not sure who he's asking, so we're
Okay.
all going to answer. He
Oh,
wants
okay.
to know what your favorite movie is. Go.
mine, I'm going to say right now, because mine changes, I'm more of an 80s and before movie guy.
Okay.
But newer shows, Terrifier.
Oh,
Art
I
the
haven't
Clown.
seen it.
Oh my God. It's horribly gross,
If you like
horribly
gore.
ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the Terrifier, Terrifier 2, now they're making Terrifier 3. So that would be my answer right now today.
Mine doesn't change. I still stick with my classic 70s Exorcist.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That tells
Hey,
you a
when you
little
know, you
bit
know.
about me
Oh yeah.
and what I like. And Courtney?
So I have a challenge with the favorites question because every time I'm asked that, I'm like, there's so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, I can pick a genre. I don't know. But usually the one that I rely on the most is the Pirates of the Caribbean series.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
I do love those.
Nice, very good. Mine, if most people know, in case my Mediterranean name didn't give it away, there are some stereotypes that are true. I'm a lot like Courtney in these ways that I kind of have a favorite movie in every genre, every decade I can kind of classify, but the stereotypical thing about me, my favorite movie is Il Padrino, the Godfather trilogy.
The Godfather trilogy.
Specifically the first one. I like the second one, but I think the first one's better.
I've only seen the first one. Yeah, that's the only one I've
Hi,
ever seen.
Jackal and Prudy.
Hello, hello. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys have, and we'll get into more of the metaphysical stuff, your spiritual stuff in a little bit. But you guys have made a major change in your life this past year. And some of the things you guys were going through, the hardships of switching over to this new lifestyle, which is awesome. But homesteading, you guys went, New York, these are New Yorkers, guys, that moved to Michigan. And then even from that, they went out of the big city here, out into the middle of nowhere. You guys talked a little bit about how that came about and what you're doing with
All
that.
right, just before
Oh.
you start, I want to say thank you for the stars, Jackal and Prudy.
Oh, thank you.
You.
Sure.
So tag team it off to me.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
moved to Michigan about 3 years ago, right? It hasn't been 4 yet because we moved in April.
It'd be
21.
3.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah,
3
so
years.
3.
Because
Okay.
we met you, I
If you-
think, shortly after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did a lot of networking when we got here.
Red Schoolhouse event.
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah.
The vending event.
Wasn't
Or
that
was
the
it the
first
other
one?
vending event?
No,
No,
we
it
were
was
at the flea
Mega
market.
Mall.
Oh, the
Mega
Mega
Mall.
Mall.
Oh, it
That
was
was
Mega Mall,
I
right,
always
right.
mix those up. The great poet
Yeah.
Morgan Madden always told
Yep.
me about them. He brought me to them, and I
That is how we
mixed
met
them
you
up.
guys.
Yep.
So yeah, it was one of the first things we did when we moved here. And it was a goal that we had while living in New York, was to have an intentional community and to live with the land. So we were very fortunate, and we are very grateful to have met wonderful people, our friends Jeff and Kira that we live with.
They are cool people.
Yes, Jeff has had a farm for a number of years now and has really been learning a lot about that lifestyle, so he can support other people in learning it and growing and, just supporting passions. So we're really fortunate to find people that had the same passions as us, and it's been an interesting transition for sure. Mostly you, because I was working at the time, had to renovate a trailer for us so we can live in it, did the little tiny home thing, which that was a super exciting thing for you and a transition for you to learn new things and building and all that. So
Well, it was nice because I come from a divorced household, and unfortunately there was a dichotomy between man things and mother things, and it was hard because I didn't really necessarily get to do some of those other things that
Right.
would have been associated. But then I'd meet this man, and he's this renaissance. He can just take things apart, fix them. He flies planes. He farms.
all of
Kira's a lovely young lady. She's a fantastic artist, award-winning artist, and an equestrian, and
Yes.
also an iconoclast in her own right.
yes. So we have animals on the farm.
Yeah, we have a lot.
What
Yes.
animals do we have over there?
Well, we have about
Less
what is
than
it,
30,
25 cows right now?
25 now.
Really?
Yes, we're starting a herd, so for beef shears and then eventually for dairy as well. And Kira has 4 horses. They're all rescues.
We have australorps for laying eggs.
Egg-laying
We
chickens,
have-
and we're doing meat chickens in the spring.
Nice.
So that's something people can also purchase if anybody
Right.
wants pasture-raised beef or chicken.
We're
we have
Whispering
that for you.
Valley Farms, in case
Yes.
that one doesn't.
Yes, Whispering Valley Farms. And we have eggs right now also
Nice.
for sale. And like I said, eventually we want to do dairy, butter, but we do all the growing of as much food as we can for ourselves. So having an
Raising
orchard and a
pork.
garden.
We're doing a
And
lot
pigs
of,
too, yeah.
Nice.
Now, how many acres does he have out there?
10.
10 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're trying to certainly expand. I mean, a lot of it has to be used for pasture. I mean, you
Right,
have enough
yeah,
of them. You
with that
have
many
to find a
cows.
way to-
And the horses too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And chickens, so we do chicken tractors for the chickens.
What's been the hardest thing for you guys to get used to with that lifestyle now?
I'll let you go first. Leslie.
Sure, yeah, if you want to think about it for a minute. I mean, as a kid, I always loved animals, and I've always wanted to be as close to them as possible. Farming is something that I didn't grow up doing, but I was interested in, again, being close with the land and animals. So I think that transition, even though I have a lot of learning, is still something I had a drive to do.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate that I'm like, okay, yeah, I have the technical stuff to learn, but I have the passion of being with them.
Yeah.
So I would say a lot of the physical building things.
Yeah.
Like actually like building structures and, you know, kind of learning how to fix things yourself. And I mean, most recently I'm learning how to drive like a truck with a trailer on it and make sure I can like back up and do all this different stuff where mechanically inclined is not my normal thing. So it's good. I get to expand that skill set.
And me, I kind of ran into sort of acquiescing my life before to the demands of this one in the sense of, okay, how can I budget so I'm still doing everything that I can do while simultaneously pulling my weight as much as I could? And, you know, it's, you know, you get to know people, you know, you understand their good sides and their sides that are challenging. I don't think any side is really bad. I'm an expressive Mediterranean, so sometimes I've noticed things tend to come off a little bit more harsh to some people than others, but
and we do get the question a lot about building an intentional community, like
well, because a lot of people say they want to do it and
they don't,
and it's time to do it, and then it's like.
And people forget, like, people are people. I mean, no one's perfect, and you're going to have to work together in a group under stress to get things done. So you really get to learn about all sides of yourself and other people. So that's been an exciting personal growth thing as well, to really reflect on, okay, you know, what's our direction, what are our goals, and how do we unify on that? And then also getting personal time.
Right.
Because if you're living constantly in a community, right, you have to make sure everyone gets their own individual time.
And then, you want your, like, just us time and just, you know, reflect on us and, you know.
Hi, Brian from Pittsburgh.
Hello, Brian from Pittsburgh.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, somebody did say something about culture shock. Sure.
Okay, which
that was
one?
Michelle.
As always, guys, make sure you're firing in questions. If you're just joining us, we got Stephanos and Courtney from Demonicos Productions. They are, first and foremost, our very dear friends, our family. But they also do tarot here. They do production events themselves, Reiki masters, teachers, healers. I mean, they just
Tarot. The list goes on.
Throw the questions in at them.
Right. Hi, Ben.
So-
Strong
I won't
love.
put out the challenge that you can ask any question, because then I'll get a really weird question that I might not want to answer. But
I'll answer any question. Just
But guess
yeah.
what?
if you hate the answer,
There is
you
a
know, that's on you.
camera
Well-
between you and them, so you can answer whatever you
yeah,
want.
I'd be like, oh, I just didn't see it. I'm sorry.
The fun thing about you, though, well, both of you, because you both speak Italian, if you're not sure how to answer the question, just start off in your Italian. Like, you go back at each other, going at, you know, and nobody will know. Say, yeah, I answered it, but I answered it in Italian. Had nothing to do with the answer, but
I still answered.
you still answered.
It's a very fey way of approaching something.
It's a lot of monkey paw. and
Right.
whatever.
Prudy had you, Jackal. Don't worry about it. He said sorry for being late.
Oh, late.
Nah, Prudy had his back.
So let's talk a little bit about, let's start with, since you do quite a bit of it here, tarot. Why tarot? How'd you get into it? What's it mean to you? Just talk a little bit about that whole arena of what you do.
All right. So as a Sicilian, you either have been exposed to tarot or you didn't realize it was tarot. So the word tarot, in what we know the French word more in the English vernacular, comes from the tarocco orange of Sicilia. And this word has become associated with all things magic, arcane, for a variety of reasons. I'll spare everyone the details if they want to learn that at a different time. There's a whole history with that.
Right.
But it's a little dry.
Unless you're super into
that,
type
we'll
of
talk about it.
history.
But yeah, the tarocchi, originally it was a card game, but these symbols, these sacred pieces of artistry, were meant to tell a story that was just as any religion and any spiritual symbolism in the universe. And a lot of Christian iconography is actually there. A lot of people don't take it in. But you have the original 52 card playing deck, which is that 52 weeks of the year. And then you have in the tarocchi, you have 78 cards, so the 22 major arcana are the 22 Hebraic letters where we get all the writing systems from the West.
And you can see it in the cards as well, the different letters and symbolism. I mean, there's Hebrew in a lot of decks, not just the Rider-Waite. I know the Line Strider deck has it in there on the High Priestess card, and so the symbolism is sort of universal. I mean,
Right.
It is universal, but some decks will include
It's definitely
certain parts.
biblical stuff, but
Yeah.
there's stuff all over the place. And one of the first things the divine had taught both of us, if I'm not speaking too forward for both of us, is that
She needs the tiara.
is that the divine is everywhere. It speaks to you everywhere. But trying to listen to every voice and every vibration in existence is, well, damn near impossible.
It's the reason why they say mind reading is a very difficult superpower to have.
It's a very difficult. So people think they're going to have one monologue. My man, if you read my mind, it's a whole stadium, and you're not going to like what they're saying.
Right.
But yeah, so seeing this universal symbolism and understanding that this is a place where you can read all sorts of concepts that can be applied to anything, it sort of becomes this key that you can help yourself and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and it teaches you all the liberal arts. It teaches you to understand how to look at artistry. I mean, most people think, oh, it's just the tarot. Any piece of art does this. If you want to know one of the greatest artists that showed occult symbolism, think Renaissance artist Leonardo da Vinci.
Right.
His Salvator Mundi or his Vitruvian Man.
Well, and that's why they always say a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a
See,
reason
look
for
at
every saying.
I got something. Hi, Dwayne.
She knows stuff. She knows stuff. Now, one thing I wanted to talk a little bit about with tarot, because it's something that I've always either wondered, because I don't do tarot. I'm kind of playing with a deck right now. It's going to take me a while to figure this shit out.
Because he can't retain. Remember we talked.
Well,
about
I do. I do have retention issues. It is a thing. When you get old, especially, you start forgetting shit. But it's
because
something
you know
before
so much.
that.
It's a lot. It's a lot to file through.
Yeah.
You save all the stuff that's good.
I've gotten shot in the head before. I've been hit in the head. I've had a rough job before all of this. So we'll just leave that as that. I don't retain very well. But with tarot, do people go into it thinking that you are somebody that reads the future? You are reading the future for them. You are seeing these things. Or is it the cards, you're reading the cards, telling them what is coming up?
Okay, so I see where
If that makes sense.
mode of questioning is.
Yeah, I would say it depends on what the person is expecting from
Right.
that future. If a lot of media is what their experience is with tarot first, they might see more of a Romani depiction of a woman in a Vardo wagon and kind of how that works.
Yes.
And again, people in the media are going to just move things for Hollywood. So we actually do talk to people when we do tarot readings that the cards might give you an indication of something that's a possibility, but it's not a definite future. As in, this isn't going to happen just because of the reading.
Right.
Unless, of course, you're manifesting it by focusing on the reading so hard. But people do have free will and they have the ability to manifest things. So it's a possible future if the choices you continue to make go down that path.
As you are right now, usually how
Right.
things go, and then you can ask questions like, well, what happens if you do this, this, this?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you really have to watch with Tadaraki, or really any divining at all, because sometimes you can, in an effort to be specific, you're looking at too many things at once. But if you are only looking just for the answer you're looking for, you're still going to miss a great deal of detail that might help you. So if you draw, for example, the High Priestess card, and depending on what it is we're asking, so it's like you understand the symbols are universal.
Right.
Whatever the question you're asking is, whether that is divining the future or just where you are, et cetera, because some questions people ask are timeless.
Right.
Sometimes they're just completely on who it is they are. If you draw the High Priestess, upright, this could be an excuse for, all right, it's time for you to study. If you are a man, study from the place of the divine feminine. Understand the moon. If you're having trouble sleeping, and I draw this card, and it's just you feel the need to think at this time, it's all right, instead of trying to continue to sleep, maybe, start reading some of those things. I mean, she's literally holding a Torah. And Torah literally just means the law or the instruction in Hebrew. That's basically what those first 5 books were supposed to mean.
And she'll
It's not
often come
limited
up
to these
in...
things. It's anything that can apply to that.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Missed on that one. She'll often come up as a gateway card as well. So she sits between Boaz and Iakin, the 2 pillars, the black and white pillars,
Of
like salt and pepper
Solomon's
shakers.
temple for people who understand the book
Okay.
of Hebrews.
Right. And so she's the third card in, so you have the Fool, the Magician, and the High Priestess. And so it's kind of after you start that journey, she's your next level up into the
Right.
rest of the Major Arcana.
Right.
And Major Arcana will come up when people have big questions, life-changing things, big cycles coming up. So
Major Arcana is the spirit, as opposed to
Okay.
the other four suits, which are the individual elements. Spirit, when it separates into 2 or 4 things. When it separates into 2 things, it's light and darkness. When it separates into 4 things, it becomes those classical elements.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
All right, so I'm gonna pause
Oh.
just for a second. Gary Dondo says, "Can I get everyone's autograph?" He's in the UK.
oh wow!
I don't know. I can't talk for them because I don't know if they have photos.
What-
But we do.
What we
have-
can do is, after every show with our guests, we take a group photo,
okay.
and then we'll print some of those out, and we see these guys quite often, or, you know, a lot of times they get busy, we get busy, so we have like spells where we don't, but we could probably make that happen. Send a PM or an email to us, and we could make that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
Baron and Cindy Knight show page. Send it there. You send it to me. I may not see it.
Yeah, don't send it directly to her Facebook page, because being the queen that she is, I'll keep it clean. She gets a massive amount of messages that are very inappropriate.
Not all of them.
Enough of them.
Some of them.
Don't piss the Baron off, is what I'm saying. Sending stupid shit. But, so she does miss a lot of legitimate requests and messages, so don't message her through there.
Yes. And hi, Christy. Hi, Jen.
Hello. It's my fancy way.
Great. Gary also wants to know, and I'm probably gonna hammer this, if any of us have been to
Gloucestershire?
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire, yeah. Nope, I have
Haven't
not.
had the
Nope.
pleasure, but it's actually. I, think,
I have
one of
actually
the things
never
on
been
this.
to England. I've been to
Right.
Ireland, and so yeah, I still have to go to England and Scotland.
Now, isn't there one in eastern part of the country, Maine? Wasn't that where the movie Gloucester?
See?
I can't even pronounce it. That famous fishing boat wreck. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a Gloucester.
It's very possible. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously we have a lot of
Yeah, a lot of,
European names
York,
here.
New York, we got a lot of the same names. From,
Yeah.
And then Michael, I'm just gonna go get the last one, then you can continue. Michael says, "Looking good, Miss Knight. Yeah, the rest of you guys too."
That's fair. I mean, your crown just takes
All right.
everything.
Oh, yeah, she's wearing a crown. I mean,
The Queen of Glamour.
yeah. So, we've touched a little bit about the tarot.
Sure.
What is it that you guys are more passionate about with what you do over other things? Is there something that just really, this is what I love doing, this is really where I want to be? What is that for you guys?
In regards to like the metaphysical stuff?
The metaphysical, I know, obviously we got an outstanding operatic singer over here. Does that take precedence over your spiritual life, or, or are they equal? Are they equally satisfying?
You go first, yeah.
So, I don't see a separation between the two. Sometimes you have to go certain places where certain people are very off-put with certain concepts. So there are certain people I certainly talk to more about where it is I draw my sources from than others. Personally, right now, one of the biggest things I keep trying to do and I'm trying to promote is my arcane opera, where I will sing it first and I will give you the classical backgrounds, and then I will go into the next act, which is improvisational and dancing, which
Right.
is drawn from my shamanic practices. When I say shamanic, I understand that this word for many viewers is an umbrella term. That's some people find it a little bit tiresome of a term, but what I mean simply by this, and there's some things in my practice, you can ask me personally if you'd ever wish to, is the ability to move and resonate with spirit and tap into certain things to be able to bring out the genius of the universe. When you tap into the ultimate sources, you'll find that they are endless. Sometimes it's harder in other places. When it feels limited, it's because that's something you're usually trying to work through. But yeah, my operatic sources, I mean, I got more brilliant, and I feel through my prayers to certain deities and certain connections of certain things. I asked to be a certain way.
Right.
I mean, I asked the Christian Trinity to make me a certain way while I was still going to school for music. And then that's when all the other deities came to me in a particular way. So I don't really think the covenant of a jealous God really is in my background. So I include it in everything I do. I prefer to include it in everything I do. And if people want to ask me where my specifics are, they can read my work. But most people don't. Most people barely ask further, let alone inquire about the thousands of things I write about.
Right.
So it just is what it is. But I think they go together.
That's because there's too much here.
Yeah, I think they really go together. Yeah, though.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense, especially with us seeing you perform and working behind us. By the way, this is our spiritual center tent behind us.
That they use quite a bit.
Yeah. But when you work with him doing readings and you see him perform, they really do go together. I mean, they're very meshed, very well together. It all makes sense. And that's kind of why I asked that question, if one stood out more than the other, because it doesn't look like it does. It's like it's seamed together.
I'm glad I can confirm that.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
My ideal visions are if I am trying to make it a sacred geometrically perfect cathedral pantheon. Yes, I know. My mind started going in language for a second. I started pronouncing
Are
things
you a
like
little
Italian.
too close to him?
Evidently, he's rubbing off on me.
Yeah.
And the idea would be is that we would have community events there. We would have performances there. I mean, the idea of a mass or a gathering, a service, liturgy, whatever you want to call it, the idea of it is very performance-oriented as well. It's not simply performance, but that's also what I think people kind of misunderstand in the American mindset about performance, is that this is supposed to make commentary on everything that's happened. When you are on the stage, the spotlight being on you, you're reenacting that, and God said, let there be light.
Right.
And you're speaking to the audience, and the audience is as the universe listening to you, affirming you, placing you on that pedestal, that awakening. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing that I try to tell everyone, that there's no artistry without magic, whether you understand it or not. People can call it what they want to. But,
Right. Now, do you guys have...
Let her answer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No, you're fine.
I digress.
Apparently, you
Thank
really
you.
do need the crown.
I do have one that's kind of like yours at home. I'll have to wear it next time.
Yes.
Very
That's the one
Persephone.
my car,
Yes.
I think, actually.
Oh, I could have
It's
worn
my
it. Darn.
car.
Right? We could have been
My own
twinsies.
crown.
Twinsies.
And it is red and black, so yeah.
See?
For me, I think I did struggle with unifying certain parts of myself for a while because if you don't grow up surrounded by people that are supportive of, alternative ways of spirituality or really just, accepting people for who they are, sometimes you can have that kind of dichotomy in yourself and wonder, okay, when can I share this? What's appropriate? But then the more I, started getting into it and the more I started being confident in who I am and my spirituality, again, I would agree the unification is important. I don't think it's something you can separate from yourself. Mm-hmm. I think it's important that you're constantly growing and learning, and that includes like all parts of yourself. And that's really what a lot of spirituality and religion is finding out who you are, what your, purpose is in this world,
right,
and really knowing how you can express yourself best. So for me, I like to include it in everything I do. And, when I was talking about like the holistic healing and being a little crunchy and all this stuff, those are things that I'm passionate about because I see the connection of the body and mind.
Right.
So to share those things and have that be part of who I am and the community that I'm growing is important.
And for you that don't know her, I always feel her energy.
Yeah,
It's
that's right. You did tell me that.
all the time. It's like
It's a female thing.
No, I feel a lot of people's
No.
energy. Just yours comes off a lot stronger to me
Yeah,
all the time. So it's like, and like I said, the last time when you touched me, the hairs on my arm stood up.
Oh, yes, I remember.
So
when we bring
I don't know
in,
about her.
these guys, like I said, we've known each other for several years now. We've got the same, when we were talking about, when we first met them, we just kind of connected right away when we were vending out at a big flea market event when we started Voodoo's. And that's where we met them. They just came from New York, and they showed up, and they just gravitated to our booth and all that. We started talking.
I remember the first scene. I saw
Yeah.
Jen's icy blue eyes
Oh, yeah.
stare a hole
Yep.
through me. Like, whoa.
Which, see, you guys can verify. They
Yep.
are real. They are
are
mine.
real.
Those are her real eyes, man. I'm
They're
serious.
not
That isn't-
contacts. I have everybody always like looking for that ring.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
no.
I said, I
yours.
better choose my words wisely. This woman don't mess with me.
Well, Charles McMillan says you are always so amazing and insightful, and I'm not sure which one or both.
Oh, well,
They
I'm sure we
both
all say
are.
thank you.
They all are. All three of them are insightful. I, on the other
Oh,
hand,
my gosh.
That's because he's got this wall.
I got my wall up, so you ain't getting in.
Right.
oh, go
Ben,
ahead.
yeah, we got questions.
Okay.
No questions.
Ben Strongwolf wants to know, does astrology intersect with tarot readings?
Yes.
Certainly,
Uh-huh.
yes.
And I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could answer that question. I would say, for me, again, a lot of spirituality is all connected, whether people have a different pathway of getting there or whatever they align with.
Right.
I think there's all universal understanding in it. So,
Well, if you understand the 7 classical liberal arts, which is where we teach from the basis from, is that you understand that cosmology, astrology, and all of these things, they are the last thing to learn in the trivium. The quadrivium, which is you have arithmetic, you have geometry, you have music, and then you have cosmology. Cosmology is the former 3 altogether on the grandest scale. Everything that is above us and around us also reflects everything that is in us. And this is the reason for the most well-known Hermetic axiom of as above, so below, so within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. There is a linking of how it is, you view reality in relationship to reality, but you also have to understand its trends. And so the Tarot, one of the easiest ways to notice that they are astrologically related is understanding the relationship between the symbols. So one of the easiest ones is the 8th card, or the 9th card technically, because it starts at 0 and not 1, but number 8 in the major arcana is strength. So it has to do with Leo, because the woman is literally holding her hand in the mouth of a lion. So understanding these things are important.
and you'll
Also
see
understanding-
astrological symbols on the Rider-Waite.
You will
Not
see
necessarily
them.
all decks,
Right.
but they will have, like in the World card, and in other cards like the Wheel of Fortune, they're going to have different zodiac symbols. So
The
you can see the
four
connection there.
fixed signs of the zodiac, which are referenced heavily in Christian iconography, but what were pre-Christian iconography, which the fixed signs of the zodiac are your Aquarius, your Taurus, your Leon, and your Scorpion. So understanding those, these balances, the middle way, and all of that. And also when you understand that the numbers and the letters come together, all the letters which correspond to those 22, because the original alphabet was 22, those of you who know the Hebraic alphabet, you understand that the astrology is implied simply by the letter itself. You have the elements, the 7 classical planets, and the 12 signs of the zodiac, and all of them together make the Asclepian rod and all of that, the lucky number 13 and all of it. So,
Very
All
good
right.
question, Ben. Now, that was Ben from Ghost Contact
yes.
Paranormal. You guys met him.
Yep.
Um,
I do have
she
another
had another
question.
question?
Okay.
please.
Michael wants to know, are Aura glasses real? He says, I bought a pair and can't get them to work.
I'm actually not very familiar with Aura glasses, so I wouldn't know what types are reliable or not. I would like to know what how they say they work. Like when you buy them, what is the?
I don't
how
even
does
know
it
what an
help
aura
you?
glass is. What is an aura glass?
So Aura glasses, I guess, so you put them on, it makes it easier to see people's auras.
Aura.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I mean, you can study yourself to see auras without them. I'm assuming somebody has a technology they feel helps with that. I don't know. I don't
In
have
my
enough
experience, there is I think they came here once, but they were in another event. I cannot remember their business name for the life of me. But there were the
Oh, the
aura,
photography.
the photographers.
Oh,
So you know what I'm talking about?
So I
they
don't
would
know if
like
it's
take
similar
pictures of your
technology.
aura, and they would like
Yes.
sell it to you, show you what was up with that and everything. There is some technology that works with this, that can work, and I would presume if it's in the same vicinity as this, that there would be some reliability to it. But I personally have never used it. I've
not
always
sure.
been able to see auras by staring at someone long enough that I can kind of almost get tunnel vision. One of the easiest ways to do it is have someone on a flat background. If you have like a flat white wall background, That's one of the easiest ways to see the aura. You may not see the color at first. You may just see the light outline. You may be a little colorblind at first. You have to really train yourself to see these things, and I've given myself headaches learning to do it. So, but it is possible, and when you understand how to coordinate your eyes with the rest of your senses with an aura, it will be easier to see auras. A lot of people take senses simply as they are, and that's one of the mistakes in occultism that I want to help everyone with, is that, okay, so you need to learn to associate your sights with your smells, with your touches, with your sounds. You need to understand that all of these things come together the same way.
Right.
So, but yeah, in my experience, it kind of depends on the brand, to answer your question, friends. I'm sorry, I can't make a better recommendation.
You guys, I believe, I'm not sure if you have. I know Cindy has. I know you've worked with one of our other readers, Tina, Queen of Ribbons.
Yes.
Is that what she does? Does she use auras and then uses her ribbons to...
No.
Okay, she's doing something
Well,
totally
so
different.
there's some aura things related to her ribbons, but the ribbons themselves are independent of the aura simultaneously. At least that's how she explained it to me.
For her, the ribbons are her way of explaining to you what she sees.
Okay.
What she's seeing. It's
What,
sort of
and what she says, it's not auras. She says it's like bubbles
Bubbles.
of color.
Okay.
So that's why she'll get multiple colors instead of like an aura,
Yeah.
which typically you see, no more than two.
Well, yes. Well, the aura, you get the whole outer part. From what I put together about her reading the colors, it's not simply your aura. There are other things about colors that may just represent you. Because sometimes you can be putting off a color in your aura. This is the thing that gets confusing, is that sometimes you give off a color because that's what you are in excess in. Sometimes you give off a color because that's what you're deficient in.
Right.
I always say to people, if I ever see a burnt orange around somebody, I'm usually very wary, because usually those people, there's no easy way to say it, usually these people are highly sexually deprived, and their rage is starting to come because of that. There's a reason for that
thing.
orange jumpsuit in prison causing that sort of, I mean, if you look at when they change those things, you'll see there's a statistical rise in, well, unfortunate events. I'll leave it up to the...
Well, I'll have to see
authors.
what you see on my aura, because I get usually the same color from most everybody that has read it.
Fair enough.
Now, what I was going to go
Very.
into a little bit before we had those questions about, you guys, when we first met you guys and the connection we have, and, you guys, when we built this and we wanted to start doing the tarot and the spiritual stuff part of the shop, why we gravitated to immediately to you guys, because, as you know, we're pretty skeptical on a lot of stuff. We work in the paranormal community pretty strongly.
The fanaticism is great, and you have to have some discernment.
You got to have the skepticism, or you're just falling for everything. But with you guys, we had to have them. They were our first and only choice for being our tarot readers. Their knowledge, for me, is, and probably for you too. I'm not going to speak for you, but
Don't talk for me.
second to none. When you've worked with us on several occasions on different things, and you feel their presence, you feel their energy, you feel what they're doing. So we just didn't want to bring in anybody just because they knew how to read cards, because we have a hard time believing in all of it. So we had to have somebody that we trusted 100%, and that's why we went with you guys, and we've continued to stay with you guys and continue to be friends.
See,
and
they're
Appreciate
speaking
that.
for me again.
Oh, well, at least it was a good thing.
We.
Not that part.
But
Yeah, I mean, I would say for me, even though I have a lot of interest in the paranormal and I have a lot of interest in, obviously, metaphysical things and tarot, I'm still a healthy skeptic. I mean, when we do tours, we talk about it.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to mention that I tour guide for the museum, by the way.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Not
actually.
that that's not a dream of mine. So, because I absolutely have always wanted to be a tour guide. But I do mention that to people, that I'm giving you this tour, but I'm also have a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yes.
I'm not here to just have this big show of amazing paranormal stuff. I'm there for history and science and for figuring people out. And while there might not be an exact science to some spiritual or paranormal things, there's still a psychology in it. There's still all these things that you can look into. And I think people appreciate that when we do tours in the museum.
And that's where I was saying when he was speaking for us, because it's not that I'm obviously skeptical, but because of the ways that I believe it's very different than most. And my thing is finding where I belong. I think that's that's the problem I have.
You're looking for your like
The
lighthouse
path.
of where you want to
Yeah,
be.
I mean, what is it? You know, because I have people, like I said, they tell me I have these certain gifts, but I don't want to know how to use them.
Yeah.
Nor do I know where that would fit into a path.
Sure, and I think that's something a lot of people go through when they get interested in any metaphysics or paranormal stuff is, I mean, just like you would in society, where do I fit in? What are my roles? What can I do? And that's something I've been through also. And you don't want to have to like pigeonhole yourself too much. I think that's the thing for me. I don't like being put in boxes or labels because then how do you grow from there?
Right.
And it's useful. You can't not use terms and, describe yourself a certain
Words
way.
can set
but
you free, but they can also limit you.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing that
limit you.
people understand. If you're saying it constantly every single time, like if you're saying you're a certain way and you use that as an excuse to not improve, the word is not helping you. The word is chaining you at that point. And it's become very fashionable to do that. People are just trying to explain their experience, but the problem is that they're not trying to help that experience by doing it. And
Yeah, and I think, like,
hard.
for me, like I said, my problem is, throughout my life, I have always been interested in metaphysical.
Sure.
Probably ever since middle school, I believe.
Me too, actually.
But I just, again, it's that, you finding where it fits.
Yeah.
But I literally, for years.
And then all the outside stuff too that you could possibly go through. I mean, you were saying middle school. I know for me, when you get into that, if you don't have somebody that's experienced guiding you, I mean, you're going to show up at like Borders or Barnes and Noble, and then you're going to walk into their spiritual section.
Right.
And as girls, you're going to have best friends who are like, I want to do love spells, and I want to do this, and you're going to have practical magic and the craft as your reliance or your understanding of these things. And you're going to get a lot of mixed messages, and you're going to try to figure out, okay, yes, I can learn something from this, but who am I? How do I fit into that?
And I think the problem is that people kind of have a certain understanding of certain spirituality based on certain things that are more prevalent than others. Like a lot of people presume that all spiritual things should be free. And I find it you guys understand this too. Yeah. It's very bizarre that people come in here that they say, so for example, they don't like how churches hoard money.
Right.
But churches doing that are what makes certain things available for you to have things for free.
Yes.
We don't have those same kinds of money, but people expect the same thing to happen, and I just don't understand the cognitive dissonance of
I think that might
experiencing
go back to how our society doesn't focus on seers anymore. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, even in, like Norse culture, people, and many other cultures, but they specifically would have seers and people that worked with the web of the weird, and they would be supported by their community.
Right.
So now we're in such a money is as the only resource society, where other people, they'd bring you food, and they'd bring you clothes, and they'd swap things with you, and you didn't need the money.
Right.
You just were supported by your community and the gifts that you
It was
have.
really about resources.
Right,
Yeah.
and everyone had those gifts. Everyone knew that everyone had a special understanding and a special ability, and so they all kind of supported each other, which is really, I think our metaphysical background is a big part of why we wanted that intentional community, because we find value in that.
Right.
In truly supporting each other in your passions and your gifts, instead of making it this money is useful and it's a resource, but it's not the only resource.
It's made
not the
people
only
too
way
dependent,
to,
and I think that's where the problem is
Well, I think for me, it's not useful. I mean, when you look at so much of the greed that we have in today, in most people, even if they're poor, they have that greed because they don't have it, they want it.
Right, and lack. You get the lack mentality or lack mindset, and it puts people in a fearful position. Whereas, when you have supportive community, it really helps a lot with that lower sort of survival. People can get out of survival mode and really feel like they can help people and be there for people.
That's why agreeing on a standard comes in handy. I always said one of the biggest things you can look at. Just looking. I understand attacking media is very fashionable, but we can look at this in a way. You have television shows and movies for years. What are the thing when they see their grandmother make them a sweater? Oh, grandma, that's not cool. That's not like the designer clothing made by strangers.
Yeah.
Really, what a stranger can make is more important than a woman who has a passed-on skill for hundreds, if not more than 1,000 years, if you're lucky enough to hold on to that. I would kill to have my grandmother be alive to make something like that for me.
Those kind of things.
So it's why I get so particular. It's just if everyone really does team up, they can live like royalty, and the great part is they could also kind of be left alone.
Right.
But there are reasons for people to not want that.
So what we're getting at here, you can bring me a goat, and I will trade you one of our wonderful items in the shop. So bring me a goat, bring me a chicken,
Don't bring him a goat.
Don't bring him a goat.
and probably don't bring
And
me
we're
a
gonna
chicken.
have to
You
keep it
can
on the
bring me a
farm.
We did used to have goats. We used to
Yeah,
have chickens.
if somebody brings him a goat, it will be out there.
I
They
know.
don't have
come-
goats.
And we
You're
will
right.
come visit.
Okay, I got to turn the tide here a little bit. We are running out of time.
We are.
Time always flies on this show. But we did want to talk a little bit about what is coming up. You guys can still fire in questions for Courtney and Stephanos. Feel free.
Now, do you guys have any events coming up?
As of right
no.
now, well, one of the premieres that we are trying to do is, I mean, we're trying to have more live promotion for what we're trying to sell at the Whispering Valley. You know,
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I
selling
meant
a-
like we don't have any events coming up in April or something.
whatever your next event is that
The
you want. Is
18th.
that yeah? What was it?
April-
The 18th.
And then you said
Of
May.
April
well, I'm
or-
not gonna
oh,
get
of
away,
May.
but there's May. There's also stuff. So we would be here for your things. Just
Yeah.
personally, we're not hosting anything.
Right
Yeah.
now, we've been trying to really build our foundation because, I mean, long story short, like we've seen a lot of the things that have happened with the world, and people signed into weird contracts, and I'm grateful that that never happened to me, but that doesn't mean that I still don't want to promote myself as a career. So I'm trying still
Yeah.
to build more of a team of people that, you know, I can be the artist, they can be the people that run for it and whatever they're
so
doing.
working on your vocal
Yes.
performance, and then obviously we also have the farm as a business
Right.
and the.
We're trying to build all the things
Holistic
that we
healing
could
and
ever
everything
need,
we
and then
do.
if we want to go out in the world with it,
Look,
great.
right.
We
Now
would
they
need to.
sound like us.
Right.
That's why the reason why we
Let's
cross
put our
paths.
hands over here. Let's put our hands over
So
here.
Yeah.
what we have for our next live show on the 16th of April.
Not our normal night.
Oh,
It
this
is a
isn't, is it?
Tuesday.
Yes, we got 2 shows that week.
Yes.
So this is a Tuesday, but it's the only time we could get these guys to come in because they're out of state and far away. But our dear friend Sin Mile and his lovely girlfriend Cynical Twitch
Oh,
okay.
are going to
okay.
be live in the studio with us on
April
April
6th.
16th. That is a Tuesday.
Yes, it is a Tuesday.
So make sure you tune in for that one. Then on Thursday, oh, I'm going to be so tired. We have Joel and April, the producers and the hosts of Halfway to Halloween down in the Saline, Ann Arbor area. Fantastic event, Halfway to Halloween, self-explanatory.
Which rolls in right into the next one.
Yep.
Of May 11th, we will be at Halfway to Halloween. And we will be going live pretty much all day.
Yes.
And we won't be running constantly, but we will be going live throughout the day.
Yeah, we'll have the portable studio, so the studio is going to be packed up, and we will be set up there doing, like you said, segments of the show. We did it last year, went over really well. It was actually our highest rated, highest viewed show of the year. So we'll be doing that. And then the following week, what do I got on my cheat sheet down
No, for goodness sake, May 16th,
there? May 16th.
which is when we'd like to have you guys. Is that
Yeah.
the right date? Why does that not seem right?
I don't know if that's the right date. I wrote that, so that
I feel
might
like,
not
I
be.
feel like it's different.
I think
feel
it's
like when
the
you texted me,
18th.
It might be the
different.
18th.
We'll wait for an update.
Yeah.
It's
Here,
an-
we're gonna
They
check.
texted me. We'll look at it.
But yeah, it's a day-long event. It's in conjunction with World Goth Day, which is happening down here, down at the
Robin Theater?
Red Robin Theater.
Oh.
I'm going to call it the Red Robin Theater. That's where the main during the day events are going on for World Goth Day. But then the Monster Drag performers will be doing some stuff down there. But later in the day and in the evening, they'll be performing here. But yeah, we'd definitely like to have you guys here on that day for however long you want to come in and
love that. I don't
do
see
tarot
it.
and all that fun stuff. So I'll get the right date to you right now. Who knows?
Well, no, you're telling people on here, which I had it. I thought I shared their.
Just go to our calendar.
I don't have it on my calendar yet.
Oh. Well,
But
while
I
you're
don't
looking
see it.
for that, I'm going to jump to the show on May 25th. Again, we'll be packing up the studio, heading south to Jackson, Michigan, and we'll be doing our live show from Steampunk on the Bricks.
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Very, very cool. If you love steampunk type of stuff, you'll love this. They got, the different, just the costumes alone are just fantastic.
Ooh, okay.
They'll have vendors, they'll have music, they got all the fun stuff going on.
May 18th.
May
Saturday.
18th.
So May
there we-
18th, yes.
May 18th for that monster drag brunch here.
And they're calling it Opulent Obscura.
Yes.
Ooh, sounds fun.
So for April and May, we'll be very busy. We got some really cool shows coming up, really cool events we're going to be going to.
And there will be more.
And there is more, but I'm not going to get so far
Right.
ahead of myself.
Right.
I know we're trying to do, I don't know if we're trying to do a Beltane event, probably. But that would be a private event of anyone who wants to come and do anything spiritual. But
Yes.
not at a
So
public venue.
right.
So
Yeah, we don't have any like big SpellCon or anything like that kind of coming up. But again, when we are here doing readings and when we do events with you guys, a lot
Yeah.
of people can expect us to be at most of your
Yeah.
events. And then I know you'll advertise or we'll advertise when we're here for readings.
Yes.
Plus, people can say, well, I have this day available and kind of book it out like a week or so ahead of
Yeah.
time and we'll come in.
Absolutely. You could always get a hold of us. If you're local or if you want to drive in, fly in, like I always say, take the bus, hitchhike, whatever. Get up
He does.
here. It's a great environment to come hang out for the day. Lots of stuff in Rio Town, lots of stuff in our building. But yeah, you can book ahead. You can schedule an appointment and they will come in and do their readings, do their stuff. Plus, and we touched a little bit about it, one of your dreams was to be a museum
Tour
tour
guide.
guide.
Yes.
And by God, she is one of our, her and I are the tour guides.
Yes. I started
They
as a
own it.
kid touring my parents around in museums, even though I've never been there. I was like grabbing the mat, and they're like, right, let's go. And my parents just humored me, so that was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just, I have a bachelor's in history and education, so I
Right.
was going to be, I was a teacher for a while and did that. So sharing information with people, being there to watch people also be passionate and excited
Yes.
about learning, that's a huge thing for me.
Yep.
So that's why I love doing the tours here, because I get to watch people be like, wow,
The
this stuff is
responses.
awesome.
Even if they're not believers, even if they're there for the entertainment value.
Sure.
One, we're not going to fill your head with a bunch of bullshit.
No.
We're not going to tell you things that haven't actually happened. We research everything we have in there. We reinvestigate everything in there. We tell you the stories. It's a tour guided museum.
And I ask
which is
people
rare.
to sense things themselves
Yes.
for some objects before I give any story.
Yep.
Because I want them to know, like, I'm not just trying to feed you things. I want to see
Exactly.
what your experience is, because it needs to be genuine.
Yes.
See, so our museum is interactive.
It's very interactive. It's very rare because most death museums, it is indeed a death museum. You go in, not knocking any of them, but you go in, you walk around and you look at stuff. You might have cards that you can read.
Yep.
You have to have the stories, the passion behind these things. And that's what makes it so special. So, yeah, come on up for tarot, for the oddity shop, for the museum, our events, tarot, everything else that's down here in Rio Town. It's worth the trip.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff down here.
That's all I got. What do you got? She's
Oh, I get to say
flabbergasted.
something?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm tired. I'm tired now.
You lie. I could ask you a question and then you'd start going again.
Nah, I'm done.
No, you lie.
Everybody's tired of listening to me now.
No, I do not. We have mentioned everything, and as always, we appreciate you guys. If you want to help us out, we do have a Patreon account.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Good thing you let her talk.
That you can do a $1 a month or a $5 a month, and you get special perks. There's also a free if you just want to show your support. Is there anything I'm missing on that?
What's the
one?
address of that Patreon?
At Screamcraft Studio.
All one word, Screamcraft Studio at Patreon.
Had to
if
look
you
at the
wanna
board.
Support us through there. We just started that, so we do have a few sponsors.
We do.
We got Janice 2, Eric Kemble, and Michelle. I can't ever pronounce her last name.
Erskine.
Erskine. Sorry, Michelle. She's a clown. She's a clown.
She is a clown.
Yeah, I know.
literally.
That's why I'm not saying it mean. She is a clown. In fact.
Yes.
She's a sweet clown, though.
Yes.
She's
Also,
one of the nice clowns.
our YouTube, and we're all over the place. If
Yes.
you go to screamcraftstudio.com, you can see pretty much everything we do.
Yeah, go to the YouTube. We do our show now as well. We do pre-recorded shows of the same show. You can go to our YouTube channel and check those out. So, thanks
we do,
for coming on,
but
guys.
we've done one so far.
Technically two, but
Well, yeah.
one. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah,
Yes, I hope we,
Absolutely.
Been
give you
fun.
something
Right?
interesting to work with.
Yep.
Anyone else wants to inquire further? I mean, people to call.
Yep.
Oh, she says Erskine.
Erskine.
So I was saying it wrong too.
Erskine's kind of more fancy.
It is.
Erskine.
I'm staying with that.
Maybe
No,
we
no, no,
change it, Michelle. What do you say?
We're giving you a new name.
There you go.
Either way, thank you guys for your support. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm supposed to be quiet again, so I'll just
See?
sit over here.
Well,
Told
it's lovely
you.
to be on the show and spending time with you guys and getting to meet some of the people that are your fans. So
Yeah.
Awesome. And as always, everybody, keep it real.